Happy 4th of July. It's our nation's birthday, and I figure what a better time to post a video as far as what's going on with me. First, though, I do want to remind everybody that I'm not a doctor, and nothing I say here today should be construed as medical advice. I'm just talking about what I'm going through as a prostate cancer patient. And secondly, we'll obviously be talking about prostate cancer, so if that gives you the heebie-jeebies, just know what you're getting into. All right, so since our last discussion, I have had another PSA test. My PSA came back from Quest Labs at 0.04. Now, for those of you who are following along, the lowest my PSA has been 0.03. So this is technically an uptick. However, I'm not too worried about it, and I've seen the urologist since the last video, and he agrees. There's a lot of things that can kind of go into these minor deviations with your prostate specific antigen tests. And one of them is this test at 0.04 was done at a different lab than the test that I had that was 0.03. The last test that I got from this lab specifically was also 0.04. And the doc kind of agreed with it. He's really not concerned at this stage with it just going up and uptick like that. Also, I'm undergoing radiation therapy, so that was the other reason for the video, is to let everybody know that I am doing radiation therapy. I am doing a whopping 43 treatments of IMRT, and IMRT stands for Intensity Modulated Radiation Therapy. So I think originally what the radiological oncologist had submitted was a suggestion for me to do treatment in, or a la is what he says, treatment a la HORAD or German S3, and with an anticipated dose of 72 gray and 36 fractions. So I'm now doing 43 fractions, but I don't know if it's still the same amount of gray or not. And we'll see. So what is radiation? What is it? And how am I doing on it? So radiation therapy, I went in for 2 simulated rounds where they did some scans and tried to, the purpose of those scans were to ensure my body could be placed in an easily repeatable position for the 43 treatments, because you want your body in the same position each time for the beams to hit, so the computer can do its thing as far as getting the same places each time and not getting healthy tissue that might be around it. During the second of those, maybe it was the first of the simulations, I got these tattoos, and the tattoos really don't do it justice, because I'm surprised that anybody can see these dots that they put. And they did put them, and the first 2 I could barely feel. There are 3 of them, one on the abdomen and then one on each side that helps line up the computer. And they're really just very minuscule dots in each one of those locations. The first 2 I couldn't really feel. They were kind of warming me up for it as far as, hey, you're going to feel a stick. And the first one was like, not really. And the second one was like, not really. The third one I did feel, but I mean, it's really nothing more than pricking your finger with a needle. And, much better if you've got tattoos. It's nothing like getting a tattoo, but it is a tattoo. So you do those 2, and then you come in. And what they want you to do on those simulations is, practice like you play. So I was supposed to go in there with empty bowels and a full bladder. And the full bladder is really, the challenge. I've had 8 sessions so far of the 43. And, I'm thankful to have them the first thing in the morning each day. So I'll get up, I'll have a milkshake. It's not a milkshake, it's a smoothie. There's no dairy in it, because as you guys know, I don't do dairy anymore. And then I will drink about 24 ounces of tea or water. And usually about that point, I'll start to feel the need to go. I'll feel pressure on my abdomen. And that's what the text will say I'm supposed to look for to know that I'm ready. So far, I've been ready each time. There was one time that I had the guy that usually goes after me go before. But within 2 minutes of him being in the room, I already had to go. There's been twice where I've been uncomfortably full, where the bladder has really just been too full, and I've just really, really needed to go. Other than that, you get in, they'll give you a ring so your hands are positioned in the same place each time, and you keep your underwear on and your shirt on. They give you a robe, and you go in, lay on the bed of the machine, and the whole thing, as far as the actual procedure itself, it makes 3 revolutions for me, and it takes about, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes. And I'm usually in the office by 7:45, and I'm out by 8:20 on my way to work. So, and again, you don't feel anything. You hear the machine doing its thing, and you just stare off into the distance and hope it's getting everything it's supposed to be getting. There are side effects. Some of the side effects are bowel issues, fatigue, some urinary issues, potential skin burning. But here's the thing. None of that stuff is really supposed to happen until really toward the end. And that's what the doc has told me. That's what it says, on the sites and everything like that. But I've got to say, I've been having urinary issues similar to the issues that I had that brought me to going to the emergency room in the first place. Pains in the side and just really weak stream, especially afterwards. Now, part of this, all right, when my bladder's been full through this whole thing, whenever it's really full, I always find that it's kind of hard, like the muscles are tired already from trying to keep me from wetting myself. So that might have something to do with it. And again, that's just my guessing. But it's not just then. It's not just right after I'm done with the procedure. I don't have an urgency to urinate throughout the day, but when I do, the stream is weaker than it normally is, and I don't really feel like I'm completely emptying or voiding, which again was how I felt in the very beginning. I told the doc about this because you see the doctor every Monday during radiation treatment, or at least here you do. And I know, at least from what he told me, that I really shouldn't be experiencing any symptoms at this stage after only 8 treatments. And he reconfirmed that. He said, well, this isn't the radiation. I'm a little hesitant to be as sure, but and then he just repeated, he's like, you really shouldn't be feeling these symptoms about needing to go or urgency or weak stream or any of those issues or problems until about 2 weeks before completion, and then 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. Now, the research that I've done also tells me that some of these issues, if will take a couple of months potentially to go away, if at all. So I might be living with lifelong issues of this sort, which will really be a bummer, especially because I pushed for this radiation. What I don't know is if I could just quit radiation at any time. But that said, here I am, 8 sessions in, and more to go. So, and it is a Monday through Friday job. We're on the long holiday now with the 4th of July, so I'll get a 5-day break before I need to go back and start doing them again. But that's how it goes. One of the other symptoms, or one of the other things I've been feeling with the radiation, and it might be correspondent to instead of being caused by, is I've been nauseous. And of course, the doc's answer to that was, well, the average American gets food poisoning 6 times a year, so you're getting food poisoning. I thought that was kind of flippant, but it might be true. But I do get nauseous. I don't want to eat salad. I've been eating a lot of vegetables and salad every day generally for the last year plus, and I find it hard to choke down the salad that Shelley sends with me to work. I've been craving more meat, which is different and a first in the year that I've been a vegan. I'm vegan, and I do that because I do eat meat sometimes, and I do eat fish. Usually meat once a month, although the last couple of weeks I have eaten it a few times, and then fish I'll eat a little bit more often than that. So yeah, that's radiation treatment. The other thing I kind of wanted to mention was today I did something else that I'm shocked that I survived, and I'm still I'm still suffering through. Suffering's the wrong word, because I am really happy that I did it. But I'm going to go to bed as soon as this thing is done, as soon as my recording is done, because I'm still very tired from it. But this 4th of July, I got up this morning early, drove about an hour to Marianna, Florida, and I did my very first triathlon. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. So the triathlon was a 400 meter swim in spring waters. So those of you who know what I mean when I say spring waters, it was cold. And I practice normally when Shelly and I are out swimming. I'm swimming 1,400 meters in a pool, no problem. But I almost didn't make it past the swim, and it was just 400 meters. It just was that cold. And for whatever reason, my head would not equalize. And even though I knew that I was breathing mentally, and this is all mind over matter stuff, I didn't feel like I was getting breath. I didn't feel like the oxygen was getting to my brain. And so I started panicking definitely within the first 100 meters. And I couldn't freestyle it all the way. I ended up having to do, and this is one of the things that I attribute to the training that I got in the Navy. In the Navy, they don't train you to swim fast. They train you to swim for survival. So I was employing all of the Navy strokes, that I'd learned. The side stroke. I didn't dog paddle, but I did side stroke. I backstroked quite a bit to try to catch my breath and get my breathing under control. But that said, I got through it and I did it. And then that went on to the bike, which was a 10-mile bike ride. And of course, my bottom is feeling that 10-mile bike ride right now. Not so much the prostate, but I mean, this was only the second time I'd been on a bike for an appreciable distance. And Shelly and I did a ride last week just to kind of see what 10 miles would be like and to see if I could do it. But I did it. It was a hilly course, but not really too bad. So the bike, I think, was probably the best part. And then the last part was the 5K. That course was brutal. It was on a dirt road, and the hills were significant. I mean, you were talking about some significant inclines on this hill. Hey, I got through it. I will tell you, this is the first 5K. This is the first race of any kind no, I take that back. I did a half marathon once where I did walk a little bit at the end. But I did have to walk. And I mean, at this point, I was just so drained. And I'll admit, I didn't have my fueling right. But I was breaking down on that 5K course. I mean, I broke down once. And I mean, I was sobbing and just like, I got to get through this. I got to make it. But I did, So again, it's just, to me, and for anybody out there who's dealing with prostate cancer, stage 4, metastasized, anything is possible. You put your mind to it, you can do this. Look, I wasn't first. I didn't win my age division like I did when I ran the 5K a couple weeks ago, which again, that wasn't that big of a deal. But I didn't finish last either. I just stuck to it. I knew that I could do it, and I just believed anything is possible. And sure enough. And I really like this medal. I mean, it's on the Declaration of Independence. It's supposed to be, I guess it's got "We the People" up there. And I mean, the 4th of July and being a retired Navy vet, it means a lot to me. I mean, I gave a lot to this country, so we can maintain our way of life. And look, this isn't a political podcast, but I will get a little bit, I guess, political here. And I'm worried. I'm worried about this election year. And if this podcast is about something, it's primarily about, hey, go get your PSA checked. If you're a male and you're 35 or 40, get your PSA checked so you can get a baseline number at least. And today, the second part about it is go vote. I mean, what really pisses me off as a vet is to know that this election and our future as a democracy is going to be determined by 10% of the American public who's going to get out there and vote. while the rest, and that's 10% of the voting age, eligible American public, vote. I don't care if you don't think your vote's going to matter. It does. Every single vote matters. Look, the state that I'm in, sometimes people might feel that, like Democrats may feel that, hey, I'm in Florida, so if I vote, it's a lost vote because there's so many Republicans around you. And that's just not true. I mean, it really isn't if everybody voted. I mean, Florida itself is demographic. We're a third Republican, a third Democrat, and a third independent. So if everybody votes that's eligible, your voice can be heard. So get out there and vote. This is a vet who's given 21 years of my life, and who knows, maybe the Navy is the reason I got prostate cancer, so maybe more. Get out there and vote. So I don't care what your affiliation is. So that's it. That's my rant. And yeah, first triathlon in the books. First triathlon done. That's my first triathlon ever. I had never done it before. I hope it won't be my last. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna keep this one short today. Happy 4th of July. I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna go to bed continuing to believe that anything is possible.